I wasn't that impressed with this movie. What's up, everybody? Back today to talk about Insidious Chapter 3. I liked the first film. I thought the second film kind of fell off a little bit. It spent too much time in what I call the haunted house zone. And this one kind of does the same thing, but it just was even more boring. So let's get into it a little bit because I didn't totally hate it. First of all, it's written and directed by Leigh Whannell. You know him from Saw and all that stuff. He's written a bunch of junk. This is his first film he ever directed, which is pretty good. It's pretty good for a first time, I think, directorial effort. He probably has potential in the future, hopefully with something more creative. But let's get into it a little bit. The story starts off with our main character Quinn, who's played by this young girl Stephanie Scott, and she goes to visit Lynn Shay, who's basically the psychic from the first two films. And Lynn Shay is the only person in this movie that has any lasting charisma, the only person that you care about. It's really a prequel to the first two films, and it sets up her character, and the side ghost story is kind of like second. That's at least the way I felt. So it's basically more of the same stuff as the first two films, but let's get into the good and the bad. First of all, like I said, Lynn Shay, the only charismatic character in the movie, and she's the only one that I cared about. I guess that's okay, right? The bad guy also looks pretty freaking cool. The bad demon, whatever you want to call him, ghost. I like the design on him. It's very basic, something you've probably seen before, but I did enjoy it. And another thing is they have a lot of jump scares, but I'm not going to complain about it because it's a PG-13 film, and you know, frankly, they work on some levels. I'm anxious all the time, so I'm jumpy anyways. And they do work. There's one really good one, you'll know when you see it. So I'm not going to blame the movie for jump scares, but there is a lot of them. One other positive thing was, I don't think there was any CGI in this movie, really. And so let's get into the bad things, because like I said, I really didn't care for the film a whole bunch. I would not recommend rushing out to the theater and seeing it unless you're like a super big Insidious fan. First of all, the parts when they go into the further, as they call it in the movie, to me it just feels like they're walking through a haunted house. You know, get the lantern, walk through dark blue room, dark blue hallway with smoke machine, and it's like creepy character on this side, creepy character sitting here, and it's like they're not that creepy, and all you expect is like some guy from Knott's Berry Farm to jump out on your ass or something. I don't know. It just reminds me of a haunted house, and it spends too much time in the further, and you know that something's gonna happen when they're in the further. At least in the real world, things can just happen and you're not expecting them. That's the same complaint I had with the second one, by the way. It just spent too much time in the haunted house mode. Another thing is the bad guy has no freaking backstory in this movie. He's like just this guy, and they kind of vaguely explain what happened to him, and besides that, it's just all a setup for the first two movies with the psychic lady. So I was kind of sad that they didn't develop the bad guy's character a little more. And overall, most of the characters kind of just suck. They have the two assistants to the psychic from the first two movies also, and they were just kind of lame. One of them obviously is played by Leigh Whannell, and I mean, it's supposed to be comic relief, but they're not very funny. And the main girl, Stephanie Scott, who plays Quinn, the movie actually makes fun of the fact that she is so overdramatic, which I thought was kind of funny in retrospect, because man, she is overdramatic, and it's even before the haunting really starts. It's just like, oh god, I don't like you. You're just a whiner, baby. And like I said, the final bad thing, I'm not going to harp on this movie too much because I didn't think it's bad for like a video rental or something, but it just gets pretty goofy at the end. I mean, with the further, the motherly love and all that bullshit, which, you know, it works into the story, but it's just like, oh, this again. I've seen it a million times. And yes, you've seen it a million times. Like when I was watching it in the theater, I couldn't believe people were still gasping. I'm like, yeah, he's behind her. It's like happened a million fucking times in every other movie I've seen. And, you know, it's every generic Hollywood movie. It's like the movies on video that come straight to video are a lot better than this, and it's just sad. You know, Blumhouse pushes his product or whatever, and you know, James Wan and Leigh Whannell, they're always going to have their fanboys, James Wan especially, which I don't mind James Wan. It's just the fact that they're, you know, on the third one of Insidious, and it's like, just make something else already. So my final verdict on Insidious 3 is going to be 2.5 out of 5. Like I said, it's more like a video rental unless you're like super into Insidious. Just watch the first movie or the second one on video. It's just the same crap. Yeah, I came home and I just watched Starry Eyes again on Netflix. Much better horror movie. So that's all I really got to say for Insidious 3. I don't really want to rag on it too much, like I said, because I know some people enjoyed it. It seemed like some people in the theater enjoyed it. Just not really my cup of tea. So if you've seen Insidious 3, you can flame me down below. Tell me what I'm wrong about. If you liked it, maybe I'm right. Maybe think it's too goofy too. Just comment down below, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.